Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Ashley and this is the Rural Companion. Today's video is all about creating a yearly homeschool plan, and I will be walking you through the method that I have followed pretty much for the past several years. We have been homeschooling since my kids were kindergarten age, preschool age, when we were walking through colors and numbers. So I do have many years of experience creating good as well as not so good homeschool plans. And at this point, I have come across a system that works really well for our family. Now, when I go through this, it may not work exactly as great for your family as it does for ours. So just take this as a recommendation list and tweak it to fit your family. So a few weeks ago, I shared a video as I unboxed our books for this upcoming school year, and this system that I'm going to be walking you through now is going to take you to how I got to purchasing those books. Now, the very first thing I do is decide what theme or curriculum we will be following for the upcoming school year. Now, from the very beginning, we have completed or followed or worked through a Charlotte Mason style of education. Most years I follow Ambleside Online, which you can see that here. I pick whatever year that we are going to be working on. I go through their recommended book list and I make tweaks according to the needs of our family and our children. For the past I think it's been 2 or 3 years, I have actually deviated from the Ambleside curriculum and created my own. The homeschool plan we followed last year was Oklahoma history along Route 66. I kind of tweaked and created my own curriculum plan pathway, and we just had a lot of fun learning about our state's history and doing a lot of hands-on field trip style adventures. For this upcoming school year, we will be jumping back into ancient civilizations as our main focus, specifically ancient Egypt, ancient Greece, and ancient Rome. Now, when I follow the Ambleside free curriculum on the Ambleside online website, I don't necessarily go through the rest of these steps. I do I guess a little bit. I check through the book lists and make sure that they are good for our family. But this is specifically how I create my own curriculum plan for the school year for last year and for this year. So the second thing that I do is make a book list brain dump. I literally open a blank document and research, figure out every single book that pertains to the topic that we are going to be studying. So last year I knew that there were several books of Oklahoma history that we had read throughout the years that I wanted to redo, as well as some ones that we had never gone through. Specifically, we read about Henry Starr. He was an outlaw, a bad guy, and it was actually just a really wild card and a fun book. And had I just followed a simple recommended book list, we may not have gone through that. Once I have written down every book possibility, then I go through and specifically research each and every book. So in the first step, I will open a Google page and type in, for example, books about ancient Egypt for kids. And I will write down every book list that I come across. Then I will go back and do research on each of those books and make sure that they fit the Charlotte Mason style of book, which is just really good quality literature books written by 1 or 2 maybe authors, and they have a either passionate love for this subject or a first-hand account of this subject, which for the most part no one's going to have a current first-hand account of ancient Egypt. So once I created the list of books that Charlotte Mason would consider living books or high quality books. I then went through and had the children, my kids, look through those books, and each of them were able to pick 1 or 2 books from that list that they would enjoy reading. So, for example, I had a variety of books written with a male main character or a female main character. Some are biblical based because those time frames are during Bible times. And so my kids were able to read through the descriptions of those books and select the books that seemed best for them. Of course, I picked one. This is for our literature specifically, but I picked one that I would like to read aloud to the children, and then each of their books they would read independently. Okay, so after I have gone through and created the book list, I've narrowed it down at this point, then I create my entire year master list or overview. So I have each of the books for what Bible books we will be reading, what missionary book, what history, science, literature, which I kind of just mentioned, and we will go through and I will go through and write down each and every book that I plan on using for the school year. So after I've purchased my materials, I begin working on my timeline for the school year. Every year is slightly different. So for this upcoming school year, I believe that we will be starting the last week of August or maybe the first week of September. We will run through the middle of November, take a few weeks off for the holiday season, pick back up in January, and then we will go through the end of May. Now, some years we go a little longer, some years we start a little earlier, and that just depends on what's going on in our life. I do tend to plan 10 to 12 week chunks of school with at least 2-week breaks in that time frame. So if we are sick or we want to travel along with my husband when he is going around the states, we can do that and our schedule is more flexible. Of course, we get through the entire school year in roughly 30 to 36 weeks, depending on the year. So the next thing I do is create a weekly schedule document and print that, and that just basically includes every single subject that we will be doing in 1 week. Now, this list is very intimidating and it looks really long, and that's just per Charlotte Mason's recommendation of providing a feast for your children. She says that you should be offering them a wide variety of subjects, so we do a lot of things throughout the school week, but nothing is exhaustive or takes a terribly long time unless we are just really into something. For example, if my kiddo is really passionate into building a Lego recreation of, I don't know, a pyramid, and that's taking several hours, he can absolutely keep working on that. But we would not be doing 3 hours of science in a day or 2 hours of math. We keep everything really short. So when you look through this list, don't be intimidated. I do print them in chunks. So this school year, we will be doing 10-week terms, 3 10-week terms. So I print them out 10 at a time, and that just allows me to, focus on that one term. And then once I've completed filling all of that in, then I will move on to the next term. I do try to get that completely finished before our school year starts, and if not, before the next term starts, of course, so that I'm not terribly overwhelmed. But I also try to give myself as much grace in this planning process because sometimes life is crazy, and that would be my biggest tip to you, is give yourself a lot of grace in the planning process. Okay, once I have completed the documents that I like, and I typically recreate a new document every year, just maybe because the one from last year didn't work or we're adding new subjects. So once I've printed out the terms weekly plan list, then I go through and fill in each and every book reading plan for every week. So I will go page by page through each book and write down the numbers that we will be reading on Monday in the first week. Then I will go through and write that down for the second week and the third week and so on. I do this for every book that we use, and while this does take a lot of planning, oftentimes I try to book in a couple days, schedule in a couple days without the kids so that I can create my plans. It is so beneficial to have it done in advance and not trying to scramble to do it at the beginning of every week, Sunday night or Monday morning before the school week starts. Once I have created the large overall format of what we will be reading in a week, then I go back and I put everything on my weekly schedules. And again, that's just to make sure that everything is prepared before the school year starts. And I store it all in a yearly binder. Sometimes this is the same binder from last year and I just remove this stuff. Sometimes, and this year is the case, I get a new binder just because our last one is broken or well used or too small or whatever. Something that we will be trying a little differently this year. Normally I'm the one that keeps the schedule and keeps the papers and keeps track of what's going on. But as we are very close to high school and the kids creating or working with me to create their own school plan for high school, I will be having them go through the list with me each day. So on Monday, we would pull out the new list of the week and we would go through, and they are going to walk through maybe checking it off with me instead of just me doing it all. This will start to transition them from me being kind of like the overseer of all of their education to transitioning them to being more independent self-learners. And that is the true goal of education, is creating the passion and desire for continued self-learning after high school. Now, I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, subscribe to this video. Most of my videos are homesteading and homemaking, but of course we do homeschooling in our homesteading, homemaking life. And I will be posting a lot of videos, especially in these beginning weeks leading up to our next school year. If you have any questions about homeschooling, if you're new to homeschooling, or if you have any tips, I would love to hear from you in the comment section below and continue that conversation. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to having you back next time. Goodbye.